Well, we're back. So we lost our connection. I hope you're still there. If you're not, maybe you'll come back later. You can check this out later on in the day. But so, was that frustrating? Was that annoying? It was a perfect mindfulness example of how this practice works. Something happens unexpectedly. It's not what we wanted, it's what we got. And so we take a breath, we pause, we fix the problem, and we get going again. I could be really judgmental about it, but we all know there's nothing we can do about when Wi-Fi stops or it comes back on. It's kind of like being in an argument with the weather, which is sort of ridiculous, right? So let's backtrack and we're going to go back to, let's start with meditation. What is meditation? Meditation is training the mind to stay put so we can see what's actually going on internally at any given moment. Now, certainly there are meditations that happen not sitting, there are walking meditations, there are other kinds of meditations, but for our purposes today, we're going to talk about formal sitting meditation. We want to train our minds towards steadiness. And when we train our minds towards steadiness by paying attention over and over again to the stability of the breath, we use the breath because the breath is always here. When we train our minds to come back and feel the breath, what we're doing is actually training the mind towards focus, towards balance, towards steadiness. That's why we train by paying attention to the breath. And then what ends up happening is that the mind becomes trained towards this focus and towards balance, that it serves us in every part of our lives because we've trained the mind, which changes the brain. The neural pathways in the brain strengthen. And we'll talk about that next week when we meet again. So what happens naturally when we start seeing things clearly and deliberately, we see how whatever our thoughts are determine how we feel. Our thoughts truly do determine our state of mind. So what are your thoughts right now? Whatever they are, can you see the connection between your thoughts and your state of mind? Maybe you're remembering something that happened earlier today that made you feel really good. And you may have a more buoyant state of mind because something happened earlier in the day that was really uplifting. Or it could be the opposite. Maybe there was a challenge in the day and you just have a certain level of angst or agitation that is happening in the mind. So what's so important about this is that we find that our state of mind truly informs our actions. And we want to be in control of what we do. We want to have as much influence as we can over our actions. So we see that whatever we are attending to in this moment is our life. Whether we're at work, whether we're anywhere, wherever we are, whatever we are paying attention to truly is our life. Whatever happened in the past already happened. The future isn't here yet. And we spend so much time thinking about the past and planning for the future that we're not right here in our lives right this moment. So meditation training trains us to be right here in this very moment. As we train, as the mind becomes steadier and steadier, what happens is our curiosity naturally increases. And as our curiosity increases, we start seeing the world with different eyes. We have a broader perspective, which naturally increases our resilience. And this is an interesting connection. Resilience is our capacity to bounce back after a difficult experience. When we bring curiosity to whatever's happening in our lives, we have more tolerance, we have more resilience. And that tolerance and resilience for discomfort allows us to act more skillfully in every aspect of our lives. We know that however things are right now, they will change. When we have a steady mind, we're able to tolerate the change much easier. So mindfulness and meditation together, they develop focus, they develop balance and insight, and a sense of increased overall well-being. So let's have a little meditation right now. We'll do a guided meditation. So I want to encourage you to start with being very comfortable wherever you are. If you're seated, really make yourself comfortable in your chair. If you're standing, that's great. Stand so you're comfortable. And even if you're lying down, you can do this meditation lying down. That's fine too. So we'll start by closing our eyes. Now, meditation doesn't have to happen with eyes closed, but for now, just give this a try. And as the eyes close and you get a sense of your own presence, your own body sitting right where you are, simply sit and know you're sitting. Feeling how your body is making contact with whatever you're sitting on. You might feel the bottom in the chair or your back against the back of the chair. Those touch points, just notice. Letting your arms and your hands relax. I like to relax my hands in my lap. Just feeling this sensation of sitting. And now check in with your breathing. Simply start by breathing and know you're breathing. Just feeling the inhale and the exhale coming and going. You don't need to do anything about it. It will happen all on its own. You might notice that you feel your breath the most in one part of your body. Sometimes people sense their breathing deep in the belly, the way the belly expands and contracts with each inhale and exhale. Or maybe you feel the whole chest and torso expand and contract when the lungs fill and empty. There's a slight rise and fall to the shoulders as we breathe. An expansion of the ribs and a contraction of the ribs as we breathe. Or maybe you feel the air going in and out of your nostrils. Wherever you feel your breath the most, see if you can let your attention and your awareness rest right there. Bring your mind to this area, bring your awareness to this area, and just stay there for the next few breaths. And now see if you can pay close attention to the inhale. Every time you inhale, see if you can really sense the beginning and the middle and the end of your inhale. The exhale will happen on its own, but just notice the detail of your inhale. And now switch And notice the same with your exhale. You'll breathe in naturally, and then bring your awareness to the beginning and the middle and the end of your exhale. And the next time you get to the end of the exhale, you might notice that there's a slight pause before the next breath begins. And in that pause, there's a moment where there's nothing going on. It's a moment of absolute peace. See if you can feel that. There's no coming, there's no going. There's that short, sweet moment in between breaths of rest. See if you can feel that now. And whenever you're ready, we'll return to paying attention to the whole breath cycle, the inhale and exhale and the pause at the end. And see if you can sit quietly, keeping your mind on the breath for the next few minutes. And when the mind wanders, which is natural and normal, as soon as you notice that the mind has wandered, come back and begin again. You might even say to yourself, begin again. And we'll sit quietly for a few minutes. You might notice once again any sensations in your body, the sensations of sitting and breathing. And as you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back to right this moment, right wherever you are, and just notice how you feel. It's important to know with mindfulness and meditation that this is not about becoming a better this or a better that. You don't have to believe in anything specifically. You don't have to be a this or that. But this is about becoming fully aware of whatever is happening in our lives, inside and outside, so we can respond most wisely and most appropriately. That's really the point of what this practice is. We see that with increased mindfulness, we have decreased reactivity and increased chance of appropriate response. That's what we want to do. Mindfulness is about our capacity to manage our lives right where they are, however they are, at any given time. We'll be meeting again next week on July 19th, again for Midday Mindfulness. And we'll talk more about the neurobiology, about what's happening in our brains with mindfulness and why this actually changes us in ways that are supportive. We'll talk about eating meditation, how we can bring this practice to everyday events, everyday normal things that we do. I hope that anytime you remember, you'll pause and breathe. Just remember to take a pause, feel the breath, and begin again. Thank you for joining me. I'm Heidi Bourne from Pacific Mindfulness and Emerald City Laundry. I hope to see you again. And remember, if you have any questions, write them down below and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much.